What we're finding day in and day out is that poverty is becoming more urban. People are going to where there are opportunities. La Puya is a community that's on the outskirts of Santo Domingo. You're coming into La Puya and the streets get narrower and narrower. You begin to walk downstairs. There's actually, according to the young people, 160 stairs, and you just continue to walk down farther and farther. And the houses get poorer and poorer, and the infrastructure is poorer and poorer. And when you get down, you see water, you'll see a proliferation of mosquitoes and other insects that carry diseases that are all part of the Millennium Development Goals, like tuberculosis and malaria and dengue, particularly in the case of mosquitoes. And what you see is garbage. You see poor sanitation.
She's telling me that, there have been kids that have died due to taking a shower playing with the water of La Cañada, of the river.
You have here a lot of childhood diarrhea, a lot of adult diarrhea, and a lot of skin conditions, and all those things come right from that water. You know, a lot of filth in the water here. The sewage from this community, especially the backside of the hill, drains right into that.
She lost a kid 2 years ago due to playing or drinking with the water of the river. It was too late when she took him to the doctor.
This is simply unacceptable. Why do we have this situation? You know, every kid has the right to play, to enjoy themselves. But when these kids in that cañada, the only place they can play, they're making themselves sick. You know, they're all killing themselves.
President Fernandez created working groups. Sector by sector, each ministry adopted a Millennium Development Goal. And we conducted a needs assessment. We engaged the community here at the national level, and we asked them, what are your needs? What do we need to do to achieve the Millennium Development Goals? And not only that, what are the costs?
I don't think there's any other country that has gone into details and tried to say exactly, well, how much is it going to cost us to meet each of these goals, and what do we need to do from now until the year 2015, and use that as a basis for national budgeting and national plans. I think that is unique.
Since the very beginning, the President's involvement, the President's constant interest in achieving the Millennium Development Goals has kept it going.
The real challenge is, of course, we have everything on paper, but the real challenge is to get this down to the municipalities, to the villages, and get real action plans going so that we can work on these goals.
People are poor locally, not nationally, and each community has its own distinct needs. Poverty is not uniform. For that reason, we chose one of the poorest provinces in the Dominican Republic, El Ceibo. Miches is one of 3 municipalities in El Ceibo. And Miches, for us, is a typical community that is abandoned. There's no way to access Miches by land effectively. The roads are not very good. By air, there's no airport, or by sea. There's no marina, no way for boats to get into Miches. It's one of the poorest municipalities in the country. But for us, Miches is rich. Miches has 26 kilometers of probably the most beautiful beach in the world. But we need to take advantage of that.
Que están trabajando con nosotros brazo a brazo. Le estamos altamente agradecidos y yo sé que no están trabajando en vano. Yo sé que no nos quedaremos fuera de la globalización, porque vamos a trabajar. Sabemos que nos falta mucho, pero en la forma que se está trabajando y con la ayuda que ustedes nos están dando, vamos adelante y estaremos en la globalización ahí.
As a government, we could say that the United Nations really serve their purpose. The United Nations is here to help the government, and they've really worked tirelessly to ensure that the Dominican Republic is going to achieve the Millennium Development Goals. We've worked hand in hand. They've been a true counterpart. We've systematized this, and they've been here since the beginning with us in this process. President Fernandez is very thankful. The United Nations really made a great impact in the Dominican Republic.
Ever since I arrived, I was really struck in the way that this country has taken ownership of the goals, and I think that's so important, that not only the national authorities but the people themselves relate to these goals, that they mean something for them. And I think Dominican Republic is an excellent example of how the country has really assumed the goals as their own. This is really reform in action. This is what UN reform is really about.
There's nothing more important than the Millennium Development Goals for the Dominican Republic. This is what the Dominican community has been waiting for. Finally, for a government to come in with a president who says, this is the route we're taking, these are the rights of our citizens, this is what they deserve, and we're going to produce results.